Welcome back everyone. In this video I'm going to be talking to you about a game which I've come across again and sort of started playing again. A game which is not that well known, but it is actually a very good
Each
game.
citadel to the
And that
light
is
against the shadow.
Shadow of Mordor. Now this game starts off and it's about a protagonist, your protagonist who's a ranger who's defending a gate in the Lord of the Rings universe. So you're defending a gate, and he's got his family, and you start off the game playing, and his family is being executed in front of him. And as he's about to die, he basically gets bonded to an elven spirit who turns out to be Celebrimbor. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Lord of the Rings universe or not seen the Rings of Power, Celebrimbor is the elf who forged the 9 Rings of Power for those kings who ultimately got corrupted by Sauron. And he's also had a hand in sort of forging as well the Ring of Power, the one to rule them all. So he had a hand, once Sauron forged it, he had a hand in modifying it. So you then start off with him, and you essentially become half dead, half alive, so you can enter the Wraith world. So, for those of you not familiar with the Wraith world, that is when, if you watch Lord of the Rings, you'll see the world that Frodo visited when he put on the ring. That is essentially the Wraith world, where he used to put on the ring and he'd disappear, or he may have got stabbed in the Lord of the Rings movies, if you remember. That is the Wraith world. So the Ranger can now freely enter and disenter that Wraith world, and by entering the Wraith world, you're then able to see sort of orc enemies. So you spend the game learning a bit more about Celebrimbor, you learn a bit more about his past and his history, and also the ranger as well. You sort of use him to help protect the realm of men by defeating orc armies, and you then also try and build your own army by converting orcs to your cause. And the aid is to then, in the ultimate part of this first game, is that you need to defeat the Black Hand of Sauron, which is basically like his top henchman. So, in terms of the gameplay, so game mechanics are quite simple. So you can attack or you can counter, and if you time your attacks really well, you can increase and essentially enable you to perform execute abilities. And what I like about this game is that the collectibles are meaningful. So, for example, you've got 10 herb collectibles or herb quests where you need to gather certain types of herbs to complete that quest, and then it gives you coins which you can then trade for increasing abilities which you have. So you have a bow and arrow, which is kind of like a wraith bow and arrow, and the arrows are called elf shot, and you can use it to slow down time whilst you aim your bow and arrow and then kill the orcs. And for any of those who like Assassin's Creed, stealth is really good in this game, and it's really well done in terms of the way you can just kill the orcs with stealth. It's quite basic, but it's good for those who are, like Assassin's Creed fans. For the time that it was made as well, parkouring is really well done. I would say it's done a bit better than how Assassin's Creed done parkouring, considering the time that it was made. Running up walls, running up mountains, and everything is so much easier climbing than it is in Assassin's Creed. And you have basically 3 types of abilities which you need to improve. You've got your melee ability, which is Talion, who is your protagonist, his ability with the sword. You've got the bow and arrow, and then you've got basically the broken sword of Isildur. Isildur is the person who cut off Sauron's ring finger. So you've got that basically broken sword, which he uses as like an stealth execute dagger. So going back to your collectibles, so you've got the different type of herbs that you can complete, and you've also got the hunting quests or side quests. So you've got 10 herb ones, 10 hunting side quests, and essentially you get rewards for killing different types of monsters within the world of the Lord of the Rings or Middle Earth, essentially. And then you've also got memories that you will collect, and I really like the memory quest because it gives you a little bit about the lore of Middle Earth, a bit more info about it. So you collect these collectibles which are shown up on your map, and they give you brief conversations when you know sort of turn it around and you find the hidden message. It gives you brief messages of memories of those who held these artifacts, which is quite a nice touch. And then the other one is basically a sort of glyph that you're rebuilding, based on, again, memories, tracking them down. So there's quite a few of those. They're spread all over the two mini maps, and I really quite like it. So in terms of your skill tree, so you need to increase the abilities for your melee, you need to increase the abilities for your bow and arrow, and you need to increase the abilities for your dagger. And you can also increase abilities for Talion himself. So you can increase the ability for the critical hits. You can also increase the fact that he can execute more than one person at a time. You can increase the fact that he needs he needs less killing streaks or hit streaks to be able to perform an execute ability. There's also a shadow strike or a shadow kill where he can basically you hold down left trigger on an Xbox and you go into the sort of slow motion wraith roll while holding the bow and arrow and aiming at an orc. And once you've got him in range, you can then press X, which automatically teleports you to him and executes him. And then you can string that along by pointing the direction and pressing X to the next nearest orc beside him and continue until you've run out of elf shot. That's a really, really nice ability that I quite like. In terms of other game mechanics, you can brand, which is essentially converting orcs to your side. You can also kill those orcs that you've branded by executing them with a certain command, or you can command them to help you fight other orcs, which is really good. And essentially, you then need to start branding captains and war chiefs, which is really quite good. And at the same time, you need to gain rune slots on your weapons. Now, these rune slots basically give you extra bonuses to your combat abilities. Some are really quite nice, and some are okay. I quite like the one where you're sort of immune to poison, which is quite a nice one. So, I've put in some videos. I'm going to be putting in some videos throughout this game, throughout my gameplay. Please let me know what you think of the gameplays in each of these videos. Like, subscribe. I hope that you like this intro for Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and I hope you enjoy the videos that I'll be posting up, and I'll go through each of them as and when I post them up. Thank you for watching, everyone.